Hi all, welcome back to ANC YouTube classes. In today's class, we are going to discuss a very important topic which is helpful for SSC examination, CLAT examination, bank examination and many more examinations. But luckily that this topic does not contain too much of difficult questions. This is a very easy topic to learn, but it's a very important topic. Yes, probably you might guess it right. I am discussing or I am telling about a topic called as coordinate geometry. Extremely important topic, but at the same time very easy topic. Not too much of difficult questions has come in the past. I don't see that too much of difficult questions will also come in the future in this particular topic. Today we will concentrate more on coordinate geometry. We will learn each and everything what is required in terms of examination perspective. We will only learn the concept or learn the problems, keeping examination as our denominator, and we will see how examination questions has come in the past, how we can solve it in a most easiest format. Chalo sir, let us start the class immediately on this beautiful topic called as coordinate geometry. First thing that each and every student should know about coordinate geometry is the coordinates. That means I am sure that we all learned this in our school days. This right side, this is nothing but the midpoint or the point of intersection of two lines. That point of intersection of two lines is called as origin. I am sure that you know all these things, but still I want to start from basics so that you will not miss out on any topic or any basic key points which are important in problem solving. The point of intersection of these two lines is called as origin. Now, towards the right side of this, towards the right side horizontally, it is called as x-axis. And this is called as positive x-axis. Towards the right side it is called positive. Towards the upper side it is again positive, but this time it is called as y-axis. Similarly, the same horizontal line, if it is extended to the left side of this point of intersection origin, then it is called as negative x-axis. Whatever we have extended upward, if I extend the same line downward from that point of intersection, then it is called as negative y-axis. I am sure that you all know these key points. Positive x-axis, positive y-axis. Negative x-axis, negative y-axis. Now, this is called as coordinate axis. Whatever I have explained right now is called as coordinate axis. What is the definition of this coordinate axis? The coordinate axis definition is in a rectangular plane. If two lines, this is one of the line which I have drawn here, and this is the other line which I have drawn here. If two lines intersect at 90 degrees, then they are called as coordinate axis. You take any two lines, if they are intersecting at 90 degrees, it is called as coordinate axis. And I told you what is positive x-axis, what is positive y-axis, what is negative x-axis, and what is negative y-axis. That means the meaning of positive x-axis means from this point, assume that this is your home, right? This is your home. From your home, you are traveling to the right side like this. If you travel any unit right side, it will always be the positive direction. If you travel any unit upward, that is also again a positive direction. If you travel any number of units left side, it is in the negative direction which you are traveling. If you travel any units downwards, then it is also negative. X-axis is nothing but horizontal line, y-axis is nothing but the vertical line. So this right side is positive, upward is also positive, left side is negative, downward is also negative. I believe that it is very clear. Although you know all these key points, I am not denying the fact that You probably don't know all these things. Yes, we do know that these are all things which we have studied in our school days. But I definitely want to start from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and from alphabets I want to teach you how to create words. From words I want to teach you how to create sentences. I do not want to jump directly to forming a sentence without knowing the alphabets of a language. I first want to teach the basics. Even though you know it, my sincere request, please listen to it again so that you will learn something, or probably you will recap it whatever you have learned in your school days. I believe that it is clear for you till this point. Coordinate axis means in a rectangular plane, if two lines intersect at 90 degrees, then they are called as coordinate axis. Now, in this particular coordinate axis, I want to tell you, suppose that there is a point here, right? Suppose that there is a point here. Now, everyone listen to this carefully, sir. Suppose that I have a point. I will represent that point by P. Now, this point, what is the meaning of point? I will tell you in a simple language which you will understand. Can I say that initially I was sitting in my home at this point. This is my home called as origin. Now I am at a point called as P, right? I traveled some distance. I am at a point called as P. That means from my home I traveled this much of distance for right side. I traveled this much of distance right side, and I traveled this much of distance upward. That means, can I say that right side I traveled this much of distance? I will call the distance as x kilometers. Upward I traveled this much of distance, or this much of distance also I can name it here on the y-axis. Both are same distance, right? Upward I traveled this much distance. I will call that as y kilometers. That means point is represented by two, what is that, coordinates? One is x coordinate. We will always write the first value as the x coordinate and the second value as the y coordinate. Followed, like in between there will be a comma, right? Separated by a comma, right? That means a point is represented by x comma y. I traveled x kilometers toward the positive x axis, therefore it is plus x. I traveled upward y kilometers. Upward is nothing but positive y axis, therefore it is plus y kilometers. That means this distance is nothing but x kilometers. This distance is nothing but y kilometers. So point, the place where I am located right now is represented as point P, and it is given by the coordinates x comma y. Now this point x comma y, in this x comma y, this x is called by a name called as abscissa. X is represented by a name called as abscissa. Y is represented by a name called as ordinate. That means, in simple language, suppose if a question is given in point 4 comma 5, just an example I am telling, in point 4 comma 5, what is the abscissa and what is the ordinate? Simple language, you can say that 4 is called as the abscissa because that is the first value which is written after the bracket, which is nothing but the x value. 4 is called as abscissa and 5 is called as ordinate. These are all something. Again, I believe that you already know how to, or you already know all these terminologies, but I definitely want to recap on, or probably I want to revisit all these concepts for you people once again, so that you will not forget in future again. I believe that you are very clear with what is the meaning of coordinate axis, and also you are clear with what is the meaning of point x comma y. Point x comma y only means that you traveled x direction, x kilometers in the positive direction of x axis, and upward again y kilometers towards the upward direction of y axis. That means you will meet a point, or you will meet some place. That place I will name it as point P. I hope the idea is very clear, sir. I hope till here it is very clear for you. Now continuing further, if I continue further, suppose for example, now if you observe my previous slide, I taught you that I was initially at my point home, right? This is my origin. I was initially at origin, which is considered as my home location. Now I am at different location, and that point I will call it as point P. Now there is some distance between these 2 points, right? There is some distance between the point P and my home called as origin. That is what I want to find. How much is the distance? Now if I want to find it, let me write the heading: distance of point P from origin. I want to find what is the distance of point P from origin. Very easily you can find it, sir. It is not too much difficult. Let me again represent it via a coordinate axis, and I told you that this origin, I did not tell you, in fact I am telling you right now, origin I will represent it as O, capital letter O. This point P I will represent it here as point P comma x comma y, right? Point P x comma y. The meaning of this is, as I already said you people, the meaning of point P x comma y is, I traveled a distance of x kilometers towards the positive x axis, and I traveled a distance of y kilometers towards the positive y axis, which is upward, right? Which is upward. Now I want to find the distance between these 2 points, O and P. I want to find the distance. Can I say that this is my 90 degrees? This is 90 degrees. If this is 90 degrees, it becomes a right angled triangle. Suppose if I name this point as A, for example, OAP is a right angled triangle. If OAP is a right angled triangle, can I also say that I can apply Pythagoras theorem? And I am sure that you already know Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem says that hypotenuse square is equal to opposite square plus adjacent square. But if I want hypotenuse, it will be square root of opposite square plus adjacent square. Now hypotenuse is nothing but OP, and that OP is nothing but what we want to find in this particular case. OP is nothing but the distance of point P from the origin. From origin O, if I want to find the distance of point P, that is nothing but distance OP itself. That is nothing but hypotenuse in my right angle triangle. OP is nothing but square root of opposite side divided by adjacent, opposite square divided plus adjacent square. So if I call this angle as some theta, which already I taught in trigonometry also, opposite to theta is y square, adjacent to theta is x square. So it is y square plus x square, or in other words it is x square plus y square. The distance of point P from origin is given by OP is equal to root of x square plus y square. Again I am repeating, sir, I want to teach you, or I want to find the distance of point P from the origin. That is nothing but I will create a right angle triangle, and from there I can say that distance of point P from the origin is nothing but OP is equal to square root of x square plus y square. I believe that the idea is very clear for you people till this point, right? Now see here, suppose for example there is a question given here, right? Suppose for example there is a question given here. Suppose, let me put that question right now for you people. Just a minute, sir. Let me put that question here. Now suppose for example this is the question which is given for you, right? This is the question which is given for you. Very simple, sir. Questions will be very simple and very straightforward. Your question is, find the distance of a point 3, 4 from origin. Now I just now taught you that OP is what they are asking. It need not be O and P in all the cases. I am just taking the notations as O and P. OP is what they are asking. It is square root of x square plus y square, and point P is represented by x comma y. X value is 3, y value is 4. It is nothing but square root of 3 square plus 4 square, square root of 9 plus 16, which is square root of 25, which is 5. The distance of point P 3, 4 from origin is nothing but it is 5. Or in simple language, can I say that if I represent it in a coordinate axis, 3, 4 means I traveled 3 kilometers toward the positive x-axis. I traveled 4 kilometers toward the positive y-axis. I am at a point P right now. That point P is nothing but 3, 4. This is nothing but 3. This is nothing but 4. this is origin. I want to find the distance OP. Now, because this is a right angled triangle means I can use Pythagorean triplets. Pythagorean triplets means 3, 4 and which number will form a Pythagorean triplet? The other number should be 5 itself. That is what I got in this case also. So very easily, sir, you use any method, it makes no difference, because anyways it's a very easy topic to be solved. I hope the idea is very clear till this point for you people. Now see here, sir, we understood the meaning of point P. Point P is represented as x comma y. Now this is called as, x and y are called as coordinates. X is called as abscissa, y is called as ordinate, which we already learnt, right? That means this is nothing but xy representation of a point. If I want to represent a point in terms of x and y, this is how we will represent, right? P is nothing but x comma y. This is how we will represent. But the same point x comma y, if we want to represent in terms of polar coordinates, very important again, polar coordinates of a point. Listen carefully, sir. Polar coordinates of a point. Polar coordinates of a point. Let me again draw a coordinate axis for your better understanding. This is nothing but positive x-axis, positive y-axis, negative x-axis, negative y-axis. Now see here, this is my origin. There is a point P somewhere here, which is represented in xy representation as x comma y. Can I say that from here to here there is a distance traveled as x kilometers or x units? From here to here there is a distance traveled as y kilometers or y units. This is nothing but the distance from O and P, and we just 2 minutes before we discussed this. Distance from origin to the point P x comma y is given by square root of x square plus y square, and that square root of x square plus y square, or that OP, in simple language I will represent it as R, right? I will represent it as R. And we also learned all these things for a right angle triangle in our trigonometry class. This angle is considered as theta. This or this, whichever you want, you can take it. Usual convention is taking this angle with respect to positive x-axis, right? This angle is theta. Now, if I consider cos theta, cos theta is nothing but adjacent side by hypotenuse. Adjacent side is nothing but x. Hypotenuse is nothing but r. So it is x by r, or in other language, x is nothing but r cos theta. X is nothing but r cos theta. If I want to take sin theta is opposite divided by hypotenuse. Opposite to theta is y. Hypotenuse is r, or in other language, y is nothing but r sin theta. X is nothing but r cos theta. Y is nothing but r sin theta. That means, in simple language, if I represent a point in terms of x and y coordinates, then it is called as xy representation of a point. Similarly, if I represent a point, the same point P, which I wrote it as x comma y, now I know that x is nothing but r cos theta, y is nothing but r sin theta. The same point which I represented by using x comma y, if I represent by using r and theta, then it is called as the polar coordinates of a point. That is the only difference, sir. The way of expressing is different. In simple language, I am Ajay. When I am taking class for you people, I become teacher. When I am not taking class, if I am hanging out with my family, I am a son for my parents. I am a husband for my wife. Like that, I have so many roles to play. I have different roles to play in different domains. I am the same person represented in each and every case, but the way of expressing is different. Same case here also. There is a point. In one of the ways of expressing, you will call it as x comma y. In another way called as polar coordinates, you will represent in terms of r and theta. That is the only difference where you will find between xy representation of a point and polar coordinates of a point. Now in this particular thing, you know what is the definition of r. R is nothing but distance of point P from origin. So r we already found out in my previous explanation that it is square root of x square plus y square. Sir, what is the definition of this theta? How to find the value of theta? Simple language. You took cos theta, you took sin theta. Suppose if I take tan theta is nothing but opposite by adjacent. Opposite is y, adjacent is x. So it is y by x. If tan theta is y by x, theta will be tan inverse of y by x. Very easy way of finding. I believe that you are very clear with all these things what we have discussed. Now again, as I said, if questions come in this polar coordinates, it will not be too much difficult to solve. It will be very easy if you want to solve a polar coordinate kind of a question. Let me take one question for you so that you will understand how the questions will come in polar coordinate. Very straightforward, sir. You actually do not need to worry about how much difficult the question might be. The question will not be difficult. The question will be so simple, in fact. Now see here, this is the question. Find the polar coordinates of a point 1 comma square root of 3. Now the point given is 1 comma square root of 3. This is the point given. Now this is given in terms of xy coordinates. X value is 1, y value is root 3. Now can I say that I want to find the polar coordinates of this point? Polar coordinates is given by P is nothing but r cos theta comma r sin theta. Now I want r value. R is nothing but root of x square plus y square. X is nothing but 1. Y is root 3. So this is 1 square plus root 3 whole square. Square root of 4 is 2. This is r value. If I want to find theta, I already told you tan theta is nothing but y by x. Y is nothing but root 3. X is nothing but 1. Tan of which angle is root 3? Tan 60 is root 3. That means tan theta is equal to tan 60. So theta value will be equal to 60. Now I know r value, I know theta value. So point is represented in polar coordinates as r value is 2 cos 60 comma r value is 2 sin 60. Now I have seen some people doing this after this point. They will again substitute cos 60 value. They will again substitute sin 60 value and they will simplify. Think little, have little common sense, sir. If you again substitute cos 60 and sin 60, you will get back this point called as 1 comma root 3. What is the intention of solving this problem then? They are asking you, please express the point 1 comma root 3 in terms of polar coordinates. You have already expressed. Don't just show your intelligence of trigonometry and substitute back and get back the original point 1 comma root 3. It makes no difference if you do that. They want you to express in this format of r and theta. You have expressed it. Stop it. This will end this problem. I hope the idea is very clear for you people. Now see here, next, again I am sure that the next concept what I am discussing is something which you are aware of already. Now if I write my coordinate axis once again, this is my positive x-axis, this is my positive y-axis, this is negative x-axis, this is negative y-axis. Now see here, sir, this positive x-axis and positive y-axis, they are rank number 1, or in simple language, it is called as first quadrant. It is called as first quadrant. In first quadrant, x value is positive. This particular region is what they are talking about. Here from your home origin, x value is positive, y value is also positive. In first quadrant, both the coordinates are positive. In my second quadrant, if I want to come to this particular region, then I should travel negative x-axis, but I should travel positive y-axis. That means in my second quadrant, x-axis is negative, y-axis is positive. Similarly, in my third quadrant, that means this particular region I want to enter, I want to travel in this particular area. This is called as my third quadrant. In my third quadrant, if I want to come to this area, I should travel the negative distance of x-axis and I should also travel the negative distance of y-axis. Then only this particular area will come for me. That means x is negative, y is also negative. Suppose I want to reach this particular area of whatever I am shading right now. This particular area I want to reach. If I want to reach this area, I should travel the positive x-axis and I should travel the negative y-axis. That means my fourth quadrant, x value is positive, y value is negative, and I am again sure that you know all these things what I taught you. But just a small question, I am sure this question also you are very clear of. In which quadrant, suppose some question, in which quadrant does 7 comma minus 5 lie? 7 comma minus 5 will lie in which quadrant? X is positive, y is negative. That is nothing but my fourth quadrant. So even if a question comes in this particular note, whatever I have discussed, it will be a very easy question, and I can only say that coordinate geometry itself by nature is very easy topic, sir, and I cannot take too much difficult questions, because whatever the questions which I am taking in my upcoming hours of this particular topic, those questions, some of them are examination question. You will only understand how easy an examination question has come, and you will only feel that this topic is so simple to understand and you need not scratch your head too much to solve this particular topic. I hope the idea is clear for you people with this particular topic, sir. Now please see here. Now till this point of a time, whatever we have discussed till this point of a time, in every of my discussion, I was referring to some point and I was calling that point as x comma y. Right now I was referring to only one point till this point of a time. Suppose there are 2 points. Suppose there are 2 points. There is another point here. Now this coordinate is different. This coordinate is different. Why? Because the distance from origin from here to here I represented here as x. Let me call it as x1 and this as y1. But this is somewhere different. This is at a different position, not at the same position of the first point. So definitely coordinates will change. I will call it as x2 comma y2. Now suppose for example I want to know what is the distance between these 2 points. Till this point of a time we learned only by using one point. Now there are 2 points. I want to know what is the distance between these 2 points. If I call the first point as A and the second point as B, AB distance is what I need to find. Suppose, so okay, let me write the heading for you people. Distance between 2 points is the heading what I am discussing right now. Distance between 2 points. Distance between 2 points is nothing but what I am discussing right now. Now see here, sir. Suppose, let me explain you with the coordinate axis itself. This is my origin. right? This is my origin. Now can I say that if that is the origin, suppose for example I kept on traveling like this, assume that I traveled a distance of x1, right? I traveled a distance of x1. Similarly, I traveled upward, I traveled a distance of y1 for example. Now I have this point. This point is what I represented as a, x1 comma y1, right? A is nothing but x1 comma y1. Similarly, suppose from my home called as origin, assume that I kept on traveling like this, and I traveled a distance of x2 for example. I traveled a distance of x2 for example, and I kept on moving upward. I traveled a distance of y2 for example, right? I traveled a distance of y2. This particular location or the point is what I represented as B, and I named it as x2 comma y2. Now my point for you is I want to find the distance between these 2 points, x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. So this distance I need to find. If I put a line here, it becomes a right angled triangle, right? It becomes a right angled triangle. Now think little logically, sir. Can I say that? If you think little logically, can I definitely say like this? See here, this particular line or whatever I have drawn here, this is nothing but from entire x2 value, from this entire x2 value, if I remove this x1 part, then I am left only with this particular part, which is nothing but this distance. So this value is x2 minus x1, right? This value is x2 minus x1. Similarly, can I also say that from this entire, from here to here, entire thing is y2. From this entire y2 value, if I remove this part of y1, this is nothing but y1 here, right? If I remove this part of y1, this value will become y2 minus y1, right? This value will become y2 minus y1. Now can I say that this becomes 90 degrees right now? 90 degrees means it's a right angle triangle. AB is nothing but the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is nothing but, that means AB is nothing but, it is the square root of other two sides square of the sum of the squares of other two sides. That means square root of x2 minus x1 whole square. I believe you are understanding, sir. The proofs are very easy. Plus other side is y2 minus y1 whole square. Square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Any time in, for example, if you are asked to find the distance between 2 points, it is given by the notation square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Everything under the square root. I believe that you are very clear with this particular logic. Now see here, sir. There might be a question which might arise on this particular logic what I discussed right now, but it's again a very easy question to be discussed, and I am telling you, sir, coordinate geometry it like that. Coordinate geometry will definitely be easy like that, so nothing to worry about that part. You will find the problems also to be very easy and simpler. Now see here, suppose if there is a question which is being asked, if this is the question that is asked, if the distance between 2 points 0 comma minus 5 and x comma 0 is 13, then find the value of x. Now there are 2 points. First of all, let me call that point. You need not write all these things in your examination. I am writing for your better understanding. First point I represented as A, second point I represented as B. Now I told you that distance between 2 points AB is given by, just now I proved it, square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Now it is given in the question that the distance between 2 points A and B, it is given in the question as 13. That means AB value is given as 13. This is square root of x2 minus x1. x2 is x, x1 is 0, so it is x minus 0 whole square plus y2 minus y1. y2 is 0, y1 is minus 5. It is 0 minus of minus 5. 0 plus 5 whole square is 5 square. So if I square both sides, 13 square is 169. it is x square plus 25. So x square value will be equal to 169 minus 25. It is 144. X value will be plus or minus 12. That means the meaning of this is one of the point is 0 comma minus 5. Let the other point be 12 comma 0 or minus 12 comma 0. It can be plus 12 comma 0 or it can be minus 12 comma 0. In both the cases, the distance between 2 points will be 13 itself. You can check it out by using coordinate axis if you want to. Whether you travel the positive direction of x-axis 12 units or you travel the negative direction of x-axis for 12 units, your distance between 2 points will still remain 13 itself in this particular question. I hope the idea is very clear for you people.